Guys and gals, welcome to the show. Once again, you've got the arms, you've got the guns. That's what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about the APC223. That's our gun. That's been our gun all week. This is now part 4 in this series. You don't have to watch, the whole series or anything like that. You can pick and choose what you want to watch. That's the way my channel works. We take one firearm every week, go through it. First off with an intro, and then a first-person style shooting video, much like the USW here. I've got a series on this as well, but we'll do a first-person style shooting video. And then we'll come back into here, back to the table. We'll take it all apart. We'll do, disassembly for cleaning or just for reviewing the internals. If you guys are interested in what these guns are like on the inside, we do that as well. And then sometimes when the platform lends itself, and if I can stretch out another video in the series, we'll do one like this on the modularity of the platform. So the B&T APC is surprisingly modular. And what I did with the B&T APC308 video, that was my feature firearm a couple weeks back. We had a shooting video actually where I shot the gun in 3 different formats: as a PDW, as a combat rifle, and as a DMR. And I think the rifle with the appropriate barrel could fulfill all rules. Same with the APC223. So we're going to kind of do that. I only shot the gun in a PDW format, but still, it's fantastic. And we're going to swap around a few things today. We're going to check out the B&T's rifle stock, telescopic stock, their original skeleton folder, their telescopic PDW stock, which I absolutely love. And they've got some different optics and other accessories here, folding charging handle, mags, just a few things to show you this gun in a few different formats. So, without further ado, let's kick off the first one. We're going to talk about, say, the combat loaded, I suppose. And I guess first things absolutely first, let's clear the gun. So we are clear. And this, just a quick shout out to Tier 1 Armory up in Edmonton, Alberta. Did these Chikorita mags, definitely kind of cool, 40 round P mags. That's kind of neat. Thank you, Dale and Greg. And then we'll swap in just a P-Mag, regular standard 30 round black P-Mag. These guns are phenomenal in terms of mag interchangeability. They'll cycle through, they'll feed off of basically anything reliably. So that's really nice. So combat loaded again. Let's toss a little foregrip on here. The guys in the States are probably a little envious because I've got this one set up as an SBR. And believe it or not, I'm in Canada. And we've got some interesting laws up here. A lot of times, the United States guys are like, oh, you guys are very lucky with your SBR laws. Well, let me assure you, we are not. The reason we have SBRs is just because they're already regulated that way anyway. So it doesn't make a difference whether we have a stock or a pistol brace or just a butt cap on this SBR. Once it has less than an 18.5 inch barrel, it's automatically in the SBR class, along with handguns, and they're just a lot more red tape, a lot more regulation, licensing requirements, everything on them. So anyways, that is kind of what it is. And now, so this is looking pretty good here for a little combat rig, hey? SBR. This APC stock, or sorry, ACR stock from Bushmaster, made possible by Dan Haga. He's got a little 3D printed, really high quality though, ACR stock adapter for the APC223. That guy pretty much puts an ACR stock on everything, and I respect the heck out of him for it. So this stock is super versatile and is literally probably has more of a reputation than the ACR itself. The ACR, if you're interested, I did a full firearm week on that last week, so if you want to know more about that gun, just look into my videos from last week, and it's there. All 5 of them. Again, a very modular gun as well. That's that. I think this needs a proper optic though. We've only got the APC backup sights on here. They are very nice sights, but I think it needs an optic suitable for combat. And currently it's sitting on this gun here, which if you guys want to see more and learn more about this, just stick on my channel. I'm going to do a full review on this thing in a number of weeks, but we've got an LCAN Spectre DR. I'm just going to pop it off of there and set it on the APC223 here, which makes a fantastic host for the optic. Look at that. Okay, so never heard of these optics before. They are my favorite. 1 power, 4 power, illuminated reticle, bullet drop compensated. Iron sights up top. You can throw a red dot on there. Little arm on top. They are my favorite. I never feel bad about plugging those because they're fantastic optics. So this we're gonna say is our combat loadout. We can also toss on a blast deflector, also by Brugger and Tomet. Really nice little device, great for if you're at the range. This being a 2-chamber break is quite obnoxious out of an SBR 223, and I don't have it unlocked. Essentially just throw it on there, spin this, locks on nice and tight, and it just really chucks that concussion forward. All the concussion created by the break, and that gets spit out sideways, and can even be, you know, a bit of a pain for the shooter yourself. The blast deflector here just chucks it forward. It doesn't mitigate the sound. It just tames that concussion, contains it and throws it forward. So that's really nice. And again, if you're in a shooting range or any kind of close quarter combat with other teammates, that's definitely a good tool to use. So assuming you want the benefits of reduced recoil that a break gives you without the nasty concussion that it produces as a byproduct. So that's where those come in. All right, so now let's quickly change gears here. We'll throw the PDW stock on. So we're gonna toss off this optic real quick. As quickly as it was on, pop these arms levers, and it goes. Now, pop the rear stock. Just gonna show you how easy this thing is to convert from a typical, you know, kind of SBR with a folder. These ones, they're just a little bit snug. A little bit snug. This one goes in pretty easy. Oh, actually, while we're at it, let's pop out this charging handle as well. Literally that simple. Throw in our folder. All the way. Let's get in there. Spoke too soon? No, I think we're good. We're in there. We're good. Okay. W stock. Trying not to get off camera too much here. All right, there we go. Now this folding charging handle, I absolutely love. I was really not a fan of this gun when I first, what's going on here? Oh, my pin isn't quite all the way in. Quick to note that as well, that will lock up your telescopic stock if you do not have the pin fully in. But, oh man, how good does that look? Throw our Aimpoint T1 here and a KDG side lock mount. This, by the way, the B&T USW, just kind of here as a prop, just to give you something else to look at. And oh, it is a gorgeous firearm as well. Again, a full video set on those as well a few weeks back. But originally, again, I had the gun with this, and I'm not a fan of this folding stock, the skeleton stock. For me, this gun is just absolutely beautiful. I love all the metal milling, and then you finish off with this polymer stock, and it just never was a fan of it. So, I mean, if it's for you, awesome. I mean, definitely it's a lightweight option. But when I got this stock is just absolutely gorgeous. The machining quality, again, it's metal. It truly felt like an extension of the upper receiver, the receiver of the gun, which is the serialized part. The lower is just a part. And it's the lower, I'm actually not a big fan of either, but I'll talk about that in my overview. And actually, B&T, I think, is probably going to be coming out with a Gen 2 lower on this as well. They've done that already for some of their other guns. The APC 9 Pro, for example. Even actually, the APC 308 has a metal lower with an interchangeable grip. I really like that. So I'm just waiting for that functionality to come to the 223, and then I will be super, super happy. So, but really, changing out the charging handle, because I also wasn't a big fan of this charging handle. It's a bit small. Again, I've got a buddy named Sean who shoots for Team B&T USA competitively, and or a sponsored shooter by them, and he loves this one because it's just, there's less to go wrong. You don't have to worry about this flipping or in and out of your way. So I can appreciate that for a competitive shooter, this has its place and its time and place. For me, as you know, I shoot more and more but I'm not actually competitively shooting at this point in time. So for me, I mean, that I haven't gone through those steps right now. I don't necessarily always approach a gun from that mindset. So I definitely appreciate where he's coming from. Though for me personally, I love this. I love this one. And as you can see, I think it wasn't fully engaged there. Bolt catches on is ambidextrous on the sides here. And if you leave this flipped open and you drop the action, it should, just the inertia of that when it hits back is going to want to keep going and should snap shut. And it's got a little detent in there too, so it doesn't just flip and flap around. It does lock in place. So I think it's a really great upgrade. The other thing for me that this works out really well for is depending on your shooting style. So this is an example where I will approach this from my shooting style. And so you pull a stock out, shoulder the gun. I mean, forward grip here, this is pretty good. I mean, I could train myself to use this more of the time, but I've got this habit of choking up around the mag well and putting my thumb, you know, if there's a charging handle, I'll put my thumb around it. This is flat, so I might just ride up against it. When I'm running this charging handle, and this happened to me when I was shooting the B&T 308, is, you know what? I'm going to save this story for the overview because this is much more indicative of my overall thoughts of the gun, not the modularity. So I'm going to apologize. I got way off track. If you want to hear me talk about that, check out my overview, which is going to drop tomorrow. So that's enough of that. Sorry for that tangent. Anyways, PDW, this thing is gorgeous. This is probably my favorite way to shoot the gun. This is usually how I have my gun set up, though I do have to say this APC stock is a close second. And if you want to know more about the details of this buffer, check out my field strip video, my internal review video, as I talk more detail about that in there. Though suffice to say, when you get this adapter, from a modularity point of view, it's going to be like this thing right here. Now this is actually the piece from the skeleton stock, and it's going to be identical to this one here as well for their factory telescopic stock, folding stock. And that's where your buffer is contained in this little housing right here. So when you get your stock adapter from Dan Hagat, well, his doesn't have the buffer. He's not making these buffers. Obviously, that's the B&T factory, proprietary part. He's just making the housing. So you're going to need to take your buffer outside of your existing one, and it's actually really easy to do. There's just a little roll pin. You can't see this super well because it's dark and I just got my light here, but normally when I do these videos in the daytime, I get lots of light and it's a little bit easier, and nonetheless, there's these two pockets back here, and the further back one, there's a roll pin. Now you just put a punch in there, drive out the roll pin, and then this is friction fit in there. It's still going to be in there pretty snug, but they've given you a recess in the back here. Just put another punch in there and just lightly tap it out, and it will come out. And then you can pull your full buffer assembly out. It doesn't matter what orientation it's in. It doesn't even matter if you're going from an APC223 to 300, 223, 300, 308. They all use the same buffer, and I did confirm that with B&T themselves. So, because that was a question I had when I was going to run this PDW stock, which I'd bought for my 223, and it actually has a buffer in there that's marked 223/300. Well, I wanted to make sure I could use that on the 308 as well, and B&T confirmed it was just fine. So definitely, when you're paying the money you are for these stocks, it's really nice that they're interchangeable with the 308 platform as well. But it's nice that their investment is cross-compatible then, if you're going to invest in multiple of these rifles. I think, honestly, the SBR 223 or 300, paired with the DMR, the long barrel 308, which is the one I got on loan from these guys, Wolverine Supplies, the distributor in Canada, man, it's awesome. That would be the pairing I would ideally go with. Anyways, flapping my gums. So let's pop off once again the optic. Let's pull the stock back. Now this stock definitely fits a little snug. I've just noticed that the telescopic one in particular is really tight tolerances, which is just fine. It's nice that it's nice and snug. So, and then this, there we go. I think there we go. Use a mallet as well. Sometimes I don't have three hands here, so it's a bit easier to do that. But this is just so finely made. I absolutely love it. It's right down to these little rubberized, appointments on the ends here. They're just, the attention to detail is great. The manufacturing quality is great. Very impressed with this piece of hardware, though it is incredibly expensive. So You know, just putting that out there, like $600 plus US for just that piece alone is a lot. These guns in general are very expensive, around $3,000 US for one of these. So not for the faint of heart. I mean, there's always the running joke about, you know, the HK poors, but B&T is no different really. But they're honestly they're killing it. These are amazing firearms. So now we're gonna toss in our rifle stock from these guys, and actually I'm gonna use my mallet to just tap this one in because it's also a little bit snug. And, well, a DMR optic. I mean, this is obviously not a DMR due to the barrel. And I've reached out, again, like I did with the buffer, I've reached out to B&T and I've asked them about the barrel change. Because when I did my intro video, I actually had at least one comment that I noticed here that was rather critical of this gun, conditionally critical, I should say. The guy was basically saying, like, well, if the barrel is not easily interchangeable or interchangeable at a user level, really, this is such an overpriced SCAR 16. And I would argue that this is a better SCAR. I think. I don't have a lot of personal time with the SCAR, so I don't want to be ignorant and just say that. I do believe this is a solid contender and possibly one of the nicest semi-automatic, you know, new modular modern platforms. But I'm not 100% sure on the barrel removal process. Now, I do know that B&T has been moving more and more towards modularity with their Gen 2 lowers. I know their GHM9, their Grasshopper 9 mouse gun, that is based on a modular platform. The barrels are readily user changeable. There's just the same kind of pattern of bolts. And it's 3 or 4 bolts you undo on the side of the receiver. You swap out your handguards, swap out your barrel. Really cool. I'm actually quite excited. We haven't gotten those Gen 2 guns into Canada yet, but I'm excited to see them here soon. So I'm you know, on that note, I'm assuming that these three here let out the barrel extension and you can just pull the barrel out. I don't know that for sure. I don't know what else is involved, but I've reached out to B&T because I couldn't find a video online detailing the removal of a barrel. And assuming it's relatively easy, like even if it's as involved as the SCAR is, which is minorly, it's a bit of work to swap out a barrel. You're not just going to pop it off in 30 seconds like you are with an ACR or an XCR for that matter. But if it is user changeable within a couple minutes, you know, I'm going to do a video on it. And I've got buddies with these things. I'll request, you know, a long barrel and I'll see what that's like. And then we can actually truly do a DMR. Because right now, where I was going with this before that tangent was I was basically going to joke about throwing on this Hensoldt 72mm objective 6x24. This thing is ridiculous. I just got this recently in from a buddy named Nick. Runs Tactical Imports actually. Got this from him. Kind of excited about that. It's kind of just a ridiculous optic, but I do like it. I'm kind of excited to find a proper platform to throw that on eventually. Maybe my AWM, that could be kind of a neat platform for that. But more realistically, I would say the Elcan TR. This thing is a 1 to 3 to 9, 1 power, 3 power, 9 power. Actually, I did that opposite, 1, 3, 9. Super awesome. I love this optic. This was the optic that got me into Elcans. This was actually my first Elcan, so I shouldn't say this was the first one that got me into it, but this got me into it the second. And these are just a wonderful optic, great glass, pretty solid sight picture. If you don't believe me, Grand Thumb did reviews of all these optics, and he shoots the crap out of his stuff, so I do take his opinion fairly seriously. And when he gets something, he tells people that he got it too, so he's pretty transparent about, you know, any bias or whatever. So, but this would be, you know, this is my version of a DMR, I suppose, for what I can do with the parts that I have at this time. But yeah, I mean, if we want to get even more ridiculous with this SBR DMR, let me just throw a drum in it, Magpul D60, and then you're ready to go. So that's going to be, I think, my video for the day. I think I've probably bored you guys enough at this point. Getting near 20 minutes. That's usually my cue, my red light goes off to wrap things up. So thank you guys a ton. Of course, I still got the bonus gun, but I just want to say thank you first. I do appreciate your guys' support, and I love doing these videos. I love doing this content. Definitely trying to keep up with the one gun a week feature and keeping them interesting. Next week is going to be a pretty cool gun too. It's basically the predecessor to this thing. So think Swiss, think 223, think CQB. And I'm not going to tease the gun. I think it's going to drop Monday, and then you'll see it. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And bonus gun. So let's again, I've been just featuring this cool bag I got from Save Your Equipment. These guys here, they actually get really good stuff. I've got a half dozen of their bags now, including their guitar suitcase. And this is a handgun bag for the range. Comes with 3 of these pouches in it, and of course still lots of room for ammo, PPE, all your other range tools and logbooks, whatever else you want in the front flaps and stuff. But there's these 3 pouches, and this is the small version. There's also a larger version, which I kind of want. Anyways, this is the 3rd and final gun from that bag, and we have the SIG 1911 We the People Special Edition 1911. I love this thing. 45 ACP. Look at these grips. Oh, and this finish. I'm actually fell in love with this gun partly because of the sentiment. I like the 1776 We the People, the whole, rhetoric behind that. Oops. Just a flat mag. They kind of did this really in a more of a retro style, with the exception of the exposed extractor, but really gorgeous, tumbled, unique. Every gun's this like a different finish, right? So it's really nice. My light just went out, so I'm really now done. See, I can pop the back on here for just a couple seconds while I close, but it's hot. So anyways, that's it. Thanks a ton. I'm out. Peace out.